That's it. That's all she wrote. That 30 seconds goes by really, really quickly. Happy Tuesday, y'all. Good evening, and welcome to another episode of Free Thinkers. It is Tuesday, October 10th, and I don't know why saying the date makes me feel like I don't know where this year went, but it is October 10th. So here we are, almost done with 2023. The other day I
Yeah,
was thinking about what year it
it
was, and I
moved
was like,
fast.
is it 23 or 24? Like I literally almost couldn't remember what year we were in a couple days ago. Like when I was younger and I would hear people forget their age. I'm like, how do you forget your age? Right.
I
But I
forget
get
my
it now.
age
I'm
every
like,
time somebody asks me. I forget. It take me a couple seconds. I gotta think about it.
that's so funny. I like that didn't make sense to me when
I
I
don't
was
feel
younger.
the
Now
age that I am.
and maybe that's part of it, right? Because like
Mhm.
I don't know what
Maybe I'm
I
in denial
thought.
right now.
Yeah, I don't know what I thought 45 was supposed to be, but like I just know when we were younger, 45 when we were younger is not our 45 right now. Like 45 when I was younger was like really, really old. And I don't think I'm really, really old. I don't feel really, really
Yeah.
old.
So you're in denial then. That's what that means.
I mean, I don't think I'm in denial because I definitely enjoy being 45. Like there's parts of me that
You know what
definitely
happens?
feel like it.
I think your criteria changes for what you look at as old. So when I was younger,
True.
then a gray hair was an indication of old.
Right.
Or if I'm coming down, if I can't dunk, then you getting old.
Get
Your
too
knees
old.
lose when you can't, like, just certain things of a physical variety. Then that was my measuring stick of old and young.
So was it
I'm
always a
tired after
physical? Was
two
it always a
hours.
physical
Then
thing?
I think primarily. Well, I don't know if it's for everyone, but I guess whatever your main thing is that separates old from young. So for
Right.
me, since I was an athlete, the physical separated what
Got
was
you.
old from young. For other people, it
Sure.
may be pop culture. Since you don't like drill music, you don't like this music, you old. Like that's the indicator. You still stuck in the
Right.
90s music.
Right.
That's your indicator that you're old.
But
And I think
physicality
just
was definitely your metric, just
oh
how
yeah,
well your
absolutely.
body responded. Got
Absolutely.
you. Got you. I got you. Yeah, I've never really been like a terribly athletic person, so I don't really have that metric to go by. But I definitely know there's no way in hell that like when I was my kid's age, that 45 was whatever it is that what I'm doing, and like the people that are my age are doing. Like we're still responsible grown-ups doing like
Right.
grown-up things, right? But it's like just that and at the same time no one's trying to be younger, like no one's trying to like be young and like trying to deny that we're 45
Right.
and 50 and 52, some of my friends, but like I don't know, 50 20 years ago was a whole different 50 in my opinion than today. Like it's just
Well, that
weird, I
was in
think.
your 20 was in your 20-year-old opinion.
But still, like even when you watch, like every once in a while, like a meme will pop up and it'll show you like a TV sitcom that we all watched as children,
Yeah.
and how those characters were like 45 and 50, and you're like, no fucking
Oh
way.
yeah.
Like they look
You
old,
can
their
tell, yeah.
appearance is old, their dress is old, like they just sound
No, I
old.
still
So
no, I look at it's messed up. Let me tell you, in my single days, when I be like on Tinder or some of them other media sites, I was like, I look at somebody's age, I was like, ooh, I'm like, dude, you older, you older than that. What's wrong with you, man? Like, I would like just the way I viewed I didn't associate myself with being one of them. Like you the same age as them. Why you
right.
looking at them like they old? It's like it's weird.
Right. Oh no, he said, wait a minute, I am that age.
They be like 3-4 years younger than me, and I'd be like,
That's
weird.
funny. Well, and it's funny. I mean, not even really terribly related, but like I'll like on a rare occasion where like I'll have somebody younger hit me up or try to what's up, whatever. Right? I'm not at all interested in men who are younger than me. Like I'm really not interested in men who are much younger than 40, to be completely honest. Because between 40 and 45, there's a big fucking difference of life gap, right? So for me, 40 is
Hmm.
almost like you're still in your 30s. And so I'm not interested in men who are in their 30s. I'm definitely not interested in men who are in their 20s. I could never be a cougar. That would never be my thing. And so when I get like a young man, and I say young man, but 35 is not a young man. Like this is a man who's lived a lot of years as a fucking adult. Like, so when I call younger men young men, that's only because they're younger than me, but they're not like little boys. So if I like a 33-year-old or a 35-year-old or even a 38-year-old, like in those ranges tries to, express some interest or whatever on any level, I genuinely will say, like, I'm not interested in men that are your age. Like, I'm just not. And I'm not interested in, a friends with benefits type of situation. Like, I'm not interested in that. So, like, just, keep it moving. And always the very first thing that they say is, oh, age is nothing but a number. And I'm like, look, you might have an older chick fantasy, right? Or you may have an older chick kink, because technically I'm a fucking older chick now. So you might have an older chick thing. I don't have a thing for younger men. And they'll get mad about that. Like really upset that like I'm not interested in somebody that's younger. Like, so there is a huge difference cognitively.
Because you don't have an actual reason for it. You just you said a
no,
standard
I do because I think it's gross. You have to remember my daughter's about to be 20. It is. My daughter's about to be 27. So for me, men who are of that younger age are like the boys I raised up, are like the boys that ran around and hung out with my kid. Like these are young ass dudes.
So if they 35, 36, that's too young for you.
That is too young for me. That is too young because a 36-year-old man.
You don't have a reason for it. You just have a criteria.
Yes, there is. They're not as immature.
Not based in anything.
They're not as immature.
Now you're making these sweeping generalizations.
They're not as mature. And there's something that happens to you when you turn 40. 39 is one thing. 40 is a whole nother ballgame. 41 is a whole nother ballgame. But something happens between 39 and 40. And there's just there's a huge difference between somebody under 40 and somebody over 40. Just like there's a big difference in somebody over 50. Over 50, like 51 is my cutoff. There's just a big difference. Huh?
I think that's all in your mind. Now, not all of it, but when you say, oh, okay, like, so because, see, the reason that it changed, because your criteria is changing with yourself. So maybe 7-8 years ago, oh, okay, well, 37 was fine then.
No.
But now it ain't fine now.
No, my window's always been very close to my age, like always.
That's like, what I'm saying. So 7 years ago, that age would have been okay. But your criteria changes as you change, but you don't really have a reason for it.
I do, like I just gave. No, the age. Every time my age changes, the man's age has to go along with my age. Like it don't. I don't get back a little bit more different because I get a little bit more older. Like no. As my age goes up, his age got to go up as well. Like there's just not anything that interests me as somebody who is really under 40 years of age. It's just a different life experience under 40 versus over 40, especially if you have children, if you've been parenting for a long time, if your kid's about to get out the house. There's just too many differences.
I disagree with that. I think there is a certain age where the curve evens out as far as when it comes to experience.
It's usually after 40. Usually after 40. Yes, because 40 is a midlife crisis that people are so fucking afraid to hit that once they hit it, they're no longer in their 30s. Something happens to you when you turn 40. It just does.
No, I think there's a difference of, so it evens out. I think after a person hits about, well, men and women are different, but I think by the time a woman hits 28, 29, her maturity curve can even out depending on what her experiences are. So you can have some young-minded 28, 29 years old, and you can have some very experienced people who their experience will match yours. So for instance, just say something simple like and this is old because he old now, but I'm saying like, okay, when if I'm 40s, but say LeBron James was 28 or some football player, something like that. Like they didn't live a whole bunch of life, and they have experiences that you ain't never even encountered before. Like there's a lot of people. It's not just a pure age thing, but there's a certain amount of time where I've had so many experiences over life that I could teach you a thing or two.
Sure, we can all do that at a variety of ages.
But I just think, in my personal opinion, I think for women that time can come. It can come. Now, it doesn't always come. And like I said, you got a lot of immature 40 and 50-year-old women. Oof,
yes.
See that? But I think that the experience curve can come because women experience a lot more than men faster oftentimes because the amount of men to be trying to get at you. But I think 28, 29, a woman can have, it's possible for them to have an experience level that rivals a 35 to 40-year-old man.
I mean, I'm not saying it's not possible. It's just
and for men.
I don't, it's just,
I say men like 34, 35. By the time a man hits 30, maybe around 34, that's when they have the ability for that experience curve to even out. So it's just not, well, oh, I'm 45 and you 35, so that means I got more. It's a lot of stuff you still don't know. At that point in time, you can have just as much experience in life and relationships and family and business and all of that, sure, just as much as I do.
Sure, but there's still something to be said for 10 more years of life experience, especially if you have children, if you've raised children, or you've not raised children.
So again,
if you've gone through different scenarios as you've gotten older, loss of people, loss of parents, loss of close ones, like there's just things that you experience as you get older in life that definitely put you in a category where I'm not saying one is better or worse than the other. I just know for me, compatibility, mentality wise, I don't come across too many men who are in their 30s.
You just described right there, Nikki. You started breaking it down into individual circumstances. And that's what I'm talking about. Based upon a person's individual circumstances, they can have an equal level of maturity, maybe a lesser level, but it all depends on circumstances at that point.
I mean, everything is case by case.
Get a young boy a chance.
I'm not. No. Get a young boy. I just posted on Free Thinkers today after reading Tyranny and Earl's conversation earlier today. I said I'm just gonna fucking keep getting dogs. I don't want to say I'm finna give up, but I don't look anyways, right? But like, no, I'm just gonna keep getting dogs.
What was that about? I didn't see it. What was
it? TW had posted something about like just questions to ask people like in the very beginning stages, like how many jobs have you had, or like how long have you been at a job, like just basically what your social credit is, right, along with like your actual credit, like, you know, just to see what a person's consistency to things is. And, you know, asking what a person's, you know, like fucking credit score is and how they manage money and stuff. And so you post this and Earl was like, man, I'm, you know, growing up, I was told it's none of your business, right? You don't ask financial questions to other people. And, you know, like, especially if I'm not paying your bills, like if we just met or we're just doing, you know, these individual, like initial FaceTime dates and shit like that. What's that saying? Waiting for what? Oh, young. Yeah, no. And so he was just basically saying how he was not going to divulge, you know, financial information to just some, you know, new person, right, that you're getting to know. Like that's not time for that conversation right now. And so Tyranny had replied basically saying, you know, well, women essentially check our pockets, you know, right from jump. So, you know, we need to turn the tables and check their pockets right from jump, right? And essentially, like, if she is not able to, you know, be at the same playing field financially, you know, a fella has a lot more to lose messing with a woman who's not as financially secure or responsible, so on and so forth. But it was just the nature of the conversation going back and forth where I was like, man, fuck this. Yeah, dogs. Because honestly, and if I were to get into a relationship, I'm technically the broke chick, right? Like I'm her, right? So like dudes call, you know, like women call dudes like the broke dude, right? Like I'm the broke chick. So like, no, I can't fly you around the world. And no, I can't do much for you financially. I'm barely afloat my goddamn self, right? But that does not make one less quality of a human being because financially they're just in a shitty spot. That doesn't mean a person mismanages money. That doesn't mean a person is bad with money. That doesn't mean a person is frivolous with money. But it was just the sentiment going back and forth about, you know, if she basically is not in my lane, I'm not interested. And that's good, right? We should all have preferences. We all need to know what we like and what we don't like. But I was like, yeah, I'll just keep getting dogs because I'm never gonna be able to be the breadwinner. I'm not gonna be a breadwinner in my family.
Be lying. I'm sorry. I just think most of them be lying.
It's
another way for you.
I'm not a bag chase chick. I'm not her. Like I'm not her. My bag is running my family and running my household, and like that's not my bag.
Let me tell you what I know though. 95% of these dudes be lying, and I'm like, why do y'all 95? Be lying? Yes.
Do you think 95%?
Absolutely. Because what happened is all this stuff where they doing all these qualifications and stuff like that. Oh, we probably pushed it at the same. We probably keep.
Okay. I was like, wait,
all the stuff that they saying, and they'll turn around and try to wife up a stripper in a half a second. Or they just try to they just be lying. They be lying.
I think some people do.
Really be lying, and part of it comes. They try to make themselves seem like. I think I had this conversation with you, Ivory. We had a conversation about 5 reasons people be single. Like they don't want to admit that you don't want to be single. So instead of you saying that I want to be in a relationship and I'm still looking, it makes it appear that you're in a vulnerable position. So instead of being in that vulnerable position, then let me speak as though I'm coming from a position of power. Like I'm the one who's going to choose if your qualifications meet my criteria. And it's always, but I'll be like, you lying. Y'all lying. The same stuff all these dudes be talking. I get the messages because I'm friends with a lot of females, and then they turn around and be like, yeah, you try to get me. And then they be showing me these messages. I'm like, all this issue was talking and you try to get at her just as quick. They be lying. They just be. That's all I can say. They be.
And I agree with you to a certain extent, and I think, of course, women do it too, right? Like, but you
lying, yes, for the same reason.
You see it enough to where you say that shit, but I'm not speaking to anybody in particular, but you say one thing, but you do a complete opposite thing.
I haven't seen it so much. Golly, I've seen it so much.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna keep having. They call old women. They don't got no man. They like crazy cat lady. I can't get no cats because like I'm allergic to cats. But I'll fuck around and have all these hypoallergenic dogs running around the house.
No, don't get no cats.
It is so much easier to entertain the dog than try to entertain these fools out here.
By the time you're on your third dog, then I got an eyebrow raise. You shouldn't have more. You shouldn't have more than 2 dogs.
Why?
You shouldn't have more than 2 dogs.
Why?
You shouldn't have more than 2 cats.
No.
Because then you turn into the crazy cat lady. Like,
that's all right. That's my babies. I'm not having no more babies. So I'm just going to have some dogs. That's what I'm going to do.
How many dogs you got?
I just have the one.
Oh, well, okay.
No, I just have my one.
You might get another one. Don't do the 3 and 4 and 5. It get weird. It gets weird. After 2, it starts to get weird.
It doesn't get weird. I love animals, so it works.
Well, you can switch it up. You get a dog, a cat, a parakeet.
I can't. I'm allergic to every damn thing except this one certain breed of freaking dog. So, like, I can't have anything else but a hypoallergenic dog. I can't have a real dog. I can't have a Doberman. I can't have a pit bull. I gotta have these little bitty old dogs. So
you good with the one? Don't have multiple dogs.
He's the dope.
Who was the max? That's my dating pool tip of the day.
No shit. So that was the thing that you actually looked at, is like how many pets a woman has.
I don't, but when there becomes it gets weird. By the time somebody got 3 of them, it's starting to. You see that eyebrow? Like, right.
No, they still sleeping on the floor. They're not getting in my bed. They can't even get in my bed.
It don't matter. By the time, like, why? What the third one gonna do that the other 2 can't do? If you need company, if you need,
it's like more kids. You just have another one. You just feed it, and you play with it, and you just keep it content, and you just love it, and then you just you go to sleep, and you wake up and you do it all over again.
Possibly have is if you live on a farm or you got at least an acre of land. You might.
Which I would love that too, and if that was the case, I would have more. I would have a cow, and I would have all the animals. Like I would love it.
If you had 3 dogs, but you were sitting on 2 acres of land. You get away with
Yeah, absolutely. If that was the case, I'd probably have like a dog rescue. I wouldn't care about the allergies. I would just have all the dogs and I would tend to the dogs.
it. Stick to the one. That's my advice. But
Just get the one.
stick to the one and have a better why for your age criteria. That's what I say.
Better why.
Your why is really weak.
And it is what it is. Anyway, so our topic tonight was something we've been trying to get to for like the last 2 weeks, actually. And it's just ethical questions, ethical scenarios. Just, how would you handle? What would you do in certain situations? So I know Q, you've been wanting to do this for a while now. So I'm imagining that you've got some decent scenarios here that you've already written down.
No, not really. I'm roll with your questions until I run out. I got questions everywhere. All I gotta do is just pull them up. I always, whenever I do this, I have like 20 questions, and then I get to like 3 of them, and then I just go back like, what's the other 17 questions I didn't get?
Right. All right. Well, you shoot first. You throw us
I ain't pulled them up
first.
yet. No, you shoot. I ain't even pulled nothing up yet.
Okay. So let's see. What do we want to start with? We have. So actually, a friend of mine. Let's see. Let me go to the videos. I'm blind. So a friend of mine, David, posted this a couple weeks ago, and I said I'm totally stealing this, and I am going to use this on in the conversation. And it was about a scenario of a person cheating. And let me see. Oh, I cannot see. Where is it at? Here we go. All right. So it says, random high thought, just discard, right? If your significant other cheated on you, what means more? Who they cheated with, everybody's opinion, or the actual act of them cheating?
Either. For me, neither of them.
None of them is important to you.
No, the who, not important, but like who, everybody's opinion and the act of it. Those are all secondary things. The root is why. What caused you to do it? Because if I get to the why, then now we can look at, is this something that's correctable? Is this something where we need to go our separate ways? Is this what's the reason? Is there because if we figure out the why of it, then that can also determine, is this going to be repetitive behavior? Is this a new lifestyle conflict that you're having? But like all of this stuff, who they cheated with, people's opinion and the act of it, none of that matters if you don't understand the why a person.
Well, could the actual act be a part of the why, though? Like the actual act of cheating, could that be where the why comes into play? Or do you think that's just the sex itself?
No, like the actual act is someone focusing on, I guess what hurts them the most.
The fact that you cheated.
The fact that you cheated, you had sex with somebody else. Or for some people, it's the fact that you embarrassed me. And that goes back to number 2, everybody's opinion.
Right.
Or, the number 1, just like, if they was messing with an ex, or they was messing with one of your friends, or like all of that is, I don't think any of those are more important than the why, because all of those could be repeated. It could be a one-off. It could be, you don't even know what you're actually dealing with unless you figure out why.
Right.
All you're doing is just lamenting over symptoms or the results.
Okay, so why is not an option? Why they cheated isn't an option. Who they cheated with, people's opinions, or the act
itself. Just saying, which out of those 3, which means more? Well, you should have known.
Means more?
I was gonna select D. None of the above.
I would too when I answered it on Facebook, but I was like, no, I gotta answer the fucking question the way it's posed.
It for me, maybe out of these 3, it might be number 1, because who they cheated. See the only repercussions from that is that, hey, he might have a 13-inch swing or something like that. I'm like, oh man, well, dang, I can't even compete with that. It's gonna be tough for me to get over. I don't be different issues depending on, there's different things that could cause certain insecurities, or if this is someone that you have to see on a regular basis.
Right.
Say with somebody at work or somebody, at that works. I mean, that I don't know, go to the same church or you play ball with, or
Right.
somebody in your family or something. Like, I'm gonna have to see this person on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
So even though that wouldn't be the biggest thing for me out of those three, that would probably be the thing that stood out more so than the other two. More so about people's opinions, because at this point, I don't think about that at all. I've seen too much and heard too many people's stories, and I'm like, this just happens. I don't like. What is it to be worried about people's opinion? But that don't make sense to me.
But you know what?
Sex is just sex. I mean, and that's where a lot of people can't separate that. But I'm not oh my God, I can't believe you would do such a thing, and it's the end of the world, and you betrayed me to the. To me, it's a natural act. So we just need to get to the root of it and find out what's the disconnect in our relationship, and is this something that we can salvage? That's it.
It was surprising to see how many people on that question posted people's opinions, though. A lot of people were actually concerned, and I was kind of surprised by that, because for me, I don't give a fuck about other people's opinions, right? And I think that most people have this attitude that they wouldn't give a fuck about another person's opinion either. But I was really surprised to see how many people actually listed that other people's opinion. And I don't know if that's one of those other people's opinions because I took them back or I went back to them, kind of like what you were talking about. But I was surprised that a lot of people had marked that they were concerned about the person's opinion.
I can understand. I can understand why that's big for people.
I mean, of course, right?
We probably
I think we did it again.
Keep pushing the button at the same time.
I'll let you do it. I'll let you have it.
So what about for you, Nikki?
So as soon as I saw it, I was like 3 and then 1. Definitely 3. So 3, the actual act. That's the part that is going to be what bothers me the most. I think is the actual, what means the most is the actual act. So it was 3, then 1. And it was almost like they went hand in hand, right? The act of cheating, but then who they cheated with, almost are like right there on the same level for me. Because the act of cheating is clearly one fucking thing we have to get through. The who you chose to cheat on me with is a whole nother ball game, in my opinion. And I mean, you could easily say, oh, well, cheating is cheating, so it shouldn't matter. But no, there's different levels of cheating. There's cheating just for sex, and then there's emotional, affairs. There's this whole other levels to stepping out and sleeping with somebody else.
Some of it can go to the length of the cheating, because then, like, if the person that they cheated with is somebody that both of you are or have been in constant contact with, then it'll sting a little different, because it's like, oh shoot, so y'all been fronting in my face for
right, coming around, we're having family gatherings, or we're at work,
everything cool,
or
you're
the neighbor acting like we so cool with each other, hanging out at neighbors and friends. So the
other thing is, in the same like manner of the 13-inch person that I said, if they with another woman, if they decide to go same gender sex or something like, because then it's the same thing, because now you have an appetite for something I don't possess,
right?
So now how are we going, if you're into women now, and that's am I going to be able to do it for you still? If you need that 13-inch, am I going to be able to satisfy you still? Like, what is it?
It's one thing you have to worry about your partner possibly cheating with somebody of the opposite sex, but now I got to worry about the same sex too. Like,
right?
I mean, and a cheater is a cheater, right? Like a cheater does cheater cheating things.
Totally different. Say I got me a 500-pound woman. So then my girl be like, okay,
right,
is this
right?
You got another appetite that I'm
right.
I don't think I'm gonna be able to fit that.
Like, can I even be this for you? What the fuck?
And so there's I think that's the other part of the who is it. For me, it's not the individual who as much as like if this is a telltale sign of a certain type you like, Because a lot of times, unless you just said I was just experimenting, a lot of
Right.
those, if that's a type that you like, then it may not easily go away.
Right.
And that's
Right.
the same, like the same issue a lot of people have. Like, we talked about this before. Like if a black man cheat with a white woman, or if they like, it's like, okay, you really like something that I can't be white.
Right.
So what does
What does
that,
this mean? Where
And
do we go
obviously
from
that's something
here?
that you're gonna be wanting. So it makes it that part makes it complicated.
Ivory, what about you?
Out of that list, it would be probably who. Yeah. Like, definitely would want to, like, is this like a one-off? Is this somebody you have to continue to interact with? I'm kind of that school when it comes to cheating. If you really want to make amends with a person, you will like remove yourself from any situation where you have to interact with that person, whether that means moving cities, moving jobs, whatever you need to do.
Cities.
Whatever you got to do to bring your ass back home and stay in there, that's what you're gonna do.
To prove to me that you are serious.
Yeah, to move cities, because
about us maintaining this relationship. So yeah, I would definitely want to know who.
Okay. You moving on? I don't know.
Over. That might have been your last week at that job. This might be your 2 week notice. I mean,
right. I agree. And that was my whole thing with the who. Like, it wasn't anything more than I want to know what your relationship is with that person. Are you having feelings for this person, or are you just excited, right, by this person, right? Because clearly we got some issues going on at home if you are stepping outside of this relationship. But the who is important to me. I want, because I don't even need to know details, but I want to know if you don't work with this person, I want to know where the fuck they came from. How did this happen, right? Because behind cheating is all of the deception that is put into play for the act to actually happen. So it's never just, oh, I slipped and fell on somebody else's private parts. Like, no, this is an intentional thing that took place, right? Even if it was alcohol or drug induced, this still had to be put into action to happen. So I like to know who, and then of course the actual act. People's opinions, I don't give a damn about.
I got another question to that in a second. Yehukanan, are you available to talk?
If y'all can take the background noise, yeah.
No, Nikki cannot take the background noise. Nikki said,
I thought so.
He's just gonna be listening for a little bit. That's all right.
Yeah, you just come back in when you get a second. So, Nikki,
well, you wanted to add some questions to it.
Okay, so and then we can go to the next one, because this probably get us off topic if we stay on this.
Okay.
Should a person, I guess, either would you or should a person ask about the details?
No. I don't need to know that, right? Just like I have a thing about open caskets. I don't need to know that. I'm okay with whatever my memory is being whatever it was. I do not need you to fuck my brain up for the rest of my life with imagery I can never get out of there. Absolutely not. I do not want to know. God, please don't tell me.
Damn, why you gotta say it like that? So vulgar.
I mean, that's I think that's pretty Ivory.
I would want to know some details.
Would you really? Like, what details
would you be able to handle that truth?
What details would you be curious about?
She can dice his tires up.
I would be curious about all of it.
You want to know the positions. You want to know how good they are, rate on a scale of 1 to 10. What positions you did that we normally ain't do. That we ain't.
Want to give him the Derrick Jackson preview.
No.
Oh,
okay. But I mean, I would want to know kind of like
how
did the conversation start? Like, how are you feeling? When did y'all meet up?
That's different. No, I'm talking about the details of the sexual act.
No, not like specific details of the act, but like all
but you want to know how many times?
All the mechanisms and everything around it, I would want to know.
Yeah, I don't need to know that.
You have questions about the oral and all that too?
I probably would ask. Yeah, I would want to know. I would want to know.
Q,
Well, at least she's honest.
would you want to know, Q? Would you
I
ask
guess
the
not.
specifics?
I don't think so, because I've
No.
been cheated on before and I didn't ask.
Right. And I don't need to know. Like I'm good. Like, okay, you cheated. I'm good. I knew who it was. That's all. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. Like, yeah,
And,
I don't.
and for
I
me,
can't handle details.
and
Fuck
let me
that. I'm
tell
trying
you
to stay
this.
in a peaceful place in my life.
Let me say a little more. If you cheated or if you did something, I would assume you did. I'm just gonna make
You
the
did
assumption that you
everything.
did
You must have done
everything.
everything.
I would make the assumption. And then I'm
Right.
like, well, you wasn't having fun right then. Why are you hesitating? You gonna put your neck out there, then go and put it all the way out there.
Okay, so there's something weird about me too in this that I realized. Like, I don't like missing gaps in people's lives. Like, so me kind of not to know a few of the details is like, because we kind of friends too. It's like a gap I'm missing in your life.
So you feel like you want to know details just to feel like y'all still in y'all not keeping secrets?
I know that's weird, but like for me, that's just kind of how my brain works. And it's like, you still my partner. Like, I don't want gaps. Like, fill all of that in for me.
So
I don't want a black hole in a space of your life for me. Like, I want it all filled in.
Well, ooh, dang.
I mean, but should they did that before they decided to cheat? Like, you don't get that from me after you done cheated. No, rules have changed.
But let me ask this: would you inquire about the sexual activities that they had, possibly to get an understanding more about their sexuality? Like, maybe like, okay, what else y'all do? Y'all did okay. So is that what you like? Is that what you have a desire for? Is that something that they introduced and you tried it? How did it feel? Is that something that you want to continue to do? Is there something that we're not doing that you want to start introducing? Like, would you use that instance to propel further conversation about your own sex life between the two of you? That's some mature stuff.
Completely healed from the pain
at the minimum
to do that. Yeah,
right.
Because how are you going to go into it?
But I would have to be. I would have to be in a healed place, or probably for me that would probably take a year or two to like go into like, okay, so let's talk about, but not in the beginning. No.
You know what? And you know the weird thing about me, the only thing I would need a weekend to heal. The only thing that I would need to heal from is if during that period of time where you lost your way, you started treating me a different way. Right. And if I felt our relationship had been in strain and I could never put my finger on what's going on, what's the issue, where's the disconnect. Right. And then to find that out, it's like, okay, not only did you go fulfill whatever you wanted to do physically or mentally or emotionally, whatever, you pulled away from me and you pulled our relationship out of balance for that. Now I feel some type of way about that versus, you know, if we was good except for that and you just slipped out and did whatever you did, then I could get over that real easy and real quick.
Yeah, I just don't know how you can have the details of your partner's extramarital affairs and then you and that person be trying some new shit or ever some new shit get tried and you'd be like, oh, that's what you did with that bitch, right? Like, no, I don't need to know the details, but I'm definitely going to ask the questions that are relevant to be asked. So
would you ever ask questions about your partner's ex?
No,
like
because I don't care.
In their exes, as far as not even about the person itself, but just how they had sex.
No.
Would you ever ask, like, whatever they did, I don't want to know nothing about it. I ain't trying to know comparisons or anything whatsoever.
No, but I think that those are important questions to have with somebody that you're just starting a relationship or just starting any type of romantic relationship with, right? Is you have to be able to have questions about what your appetite is for sex, what kind of sex you like to have, what kind of desires you have, what kind of fetishes you have. Like, you literally have to be able to have this conversation, because when people do not get their sexual needs met, they do oftentimes look around, right? Doesn't mean everybody cheats, but they may start stepping out. But a lot of people are not able to handle serious conversations about sex. They can't talk about positions, exploring new things, and trying toys or just different types of sexual relationships. No, so that's why it's important to have this question like in the early parts of getting to know somebody, But I also think that if your chemistry is there, you can
screening process.
Things with somebody that you've never done with other people before. Right. So I don't care about a person's sex life with their past.
And I could, I already know Jules got zero tolerance policy. I know that.
What's she talking about? She said, I don't need nor want details. Once I got proof of heaven, I'm out of there.
Yeah, I'm out. Ain't gonna be no more talk. We finish it, we done. That's her her cousin baby say. We finished it, we done. But I can't remember what I was about to say, but that's all right. Let's we sticking on this too long anyway. So
while we're still kind of on this topic, though, I'm going to flip it a little bit because you talked about like the person having sex with somebody of the same sex, right? So there was actually a video that I posted on Free Thinkers, maybe last night, maybe it was today, but I think it was last night. It was one of the two. So it was a recently posted one, and it was about a woman who had apparently caught her fiance in an affair. And it was with his best friend. So all you see is like part one of the two of them, like having an argument, obviously, about she's calling off the engagement. And he's like, why? So what? I slept with men when I was in college. So what? He was like, so what? I was with a couple dudes in college, but his affair was with another man. And she's like, I don't want to be with a man who's been with men. And then he goes off onto this tangent about how any woman would want a man like him, so on and so forth. But it just made me, so the question that I posed on the page is, would this be an issue for you if your partner had a homosexual affair? Does that change the dynamic if it was a heterosexual affair?
For half of men, it wouldn't be a deal breaker. For 98% of women, that's going to be a deal breaker.
Why do you think that men are more okay with that than women?
Ego, number one, and then the number two is it's so.
I was gonna say I don't want to be
sad,
but there is some just straight up kind of physical reasons to not be okay. I mean, y'all know what I mean, right? I don't have to be graphic.
Right, so the same way that I'm having sex with you is not the same way that I'm having sex with him.
I mean, true.
Two different types of sex.
True.
Yes, completely.
And then for men, it's one of those things to where it's
next subject.
Thing. So whatever why ain't nobody scared about none of that. So whenever a woman has sex with another woman, the man is still like, oh well, I still got something that she ain't got. I still have other things to offer other than what she's. But when it comes to a woman, she's like, I can't compete with. If you like big hairy chest and shoulders and a piece in the middle of your legs, I can't compete with that.
Right.
And obviously, if it was just about that, then we could have, I could have got a strap on and we could have fake did it. But obviously, you want the real thing. So
next question.
With that.
Right. I agree. And interestingly enough, like on the comments of the original post, there was just one woman. She's like, I'm bi and my husband's bi. So we have all kind of same-sex lovers. And I was like, see?
She said what?
She said, I'm bi and my husband's bi. So we have all kind of same-sex lovers. And I was like, I mean, everybody can love the way they want to love, but that's not the way I want to design mine.
Not my cup of tea.
Try whatever.
It's not my cup of tea.
Same. I'm not remotely interested in a bisexual man. I'm just not. I'm just not.
Not my cup of tea. Sorry.
Well, and I think what it might have been a fake video, but I think what the interest was like they were already engaged. They already had like a wedding planned. And then it came out that in college, some of the friends that she knew he had, that they did some things in college. So it's like she was calling the wedding off.
And he was pissed
Like,
that she was calling the wedding off. And he was
I
pissed
no
that she was
longer
calling it off
would
because
like
he'd been with men
to
before.
marry you anymore, which is
So that's
completely
the
understandable to
hypocrisy
me.
of women. But like I said, it's always everything ain't created fair and equal.
Right. True that.
Don't have to be. Okay, you got the video. Go ahead. Well, let me go back to this. The hypocrisy side of it is, and I don't know how we keep getting to this, but more about the trans issue. When you want to acknowledge, you need to see. This wasn't men coming up with all of these rules. These were women coming up with these rules to where women are women, a trans woman is a woman. Ain't no man come up with that. That's stuff that women came up with in assistance to trans men and women and people who support that. So yeah, you say all of that out of one side of your mouth, but that same woman who used to be a man, and if there was a man who ever dealt with that woman, then that female born woman is not gonna mess with that dude. It's just hypocrisy. That's all. And then it's just like, you need to
sounds like the dating pool is a cesspool.
On one side or another, you need to modify your speech a little bit on one side or another. Either you're going to be more lenient toward men who would engage in that lifestyle, or stop acting like you support, trans women the way that you do, because at the same time, like, I keep you keep it all separate. And if a trans woman ever deal with a man, then a woman ain't gonna deal with that man.
Well, wait, say that again.
If a trans woman, if a man was in, we had this conversation a while. I did a clip on it. Dealt with a trans woman. That woman is not gonna be like, oh yeah, he only likes women, or oh yeah, his last relationship, it was, he was dating a woman. No, it's if you found out he was dating a trans woman, 98% of women are not gonna deal with that dude no more.
Yeah. I think I agree with your 98%. Like, it feels like the response from women in that post was not interested in a bisexual man. There were some people who were totally cool and they were totally open and fluid with it, and and I love people that are like that, right? I just am not one of those.
Hold on, Nikki, hold on. Oh, but that was a different one. But okay, but I'll say this though, because you were talking about that specific clip, but women will still say the same thing, like, no, I ain't interested in no bisexual man, or I ain't interested in no gay man, to where for a man, you might have been curious 1 or 2 times in college. And a man be like, oh, okay. And then you be like, oh yeah, I tried a couple times. We had fun, but that ain't me at the end of the day. And excuse me. Men will be like, okay, I guess. A man can't do that. Oh yeah, I tried that 1 or 2 times in college, but it just wasn't for me. Women are like, I don't know. Well, you might as well go try it again, because you ain't doing that with me no more.
I mean, I guess you would have to be there would have to be a part of you that either maybe has an attraction or just, I don't know, you obviously have to be okay with that. And I say that, in the same time I say that doesn't mean that I'm not okay with gay people, or I'm not okay with bisexual people, or that I'm not okay with transgender people. I'm okay with all those people. I'm just not okay, for me in my personal relationship, to be with a man who has interest or had interest in having sex with another man. That's just not just not for me.
That's just the way it is.
It isn't. And I applaud people who are like, think I'm crazy for feeling the way I feel. That's cool. You can be open and fluid with
Nah, Nikki, you're not crazy. You spot on.
Uh-oh.
You good.
You got an Amber Alert.
Oh, yeah, I got that already too.
Somebody
yeah, Amber Alert.
Oh,
okay,
speaking of
Amber or Alert.
Well, so we can talk about this ethically.
Let's go.
Have you heard that they are now creating an Ebony Alert?
An
called
ebony alert.
Ebony Alert. I posted about this on Facebook. I put it on in the group yesterday, and it basically let me make sure that I don't get this completely wrong. But they're basically going to send out ebony alerts for it's not just for children. So it's different than an Amber Alert. Amber Alert is exclusively for children. Ebony Alert is, let me just double check. I think it goes up to ages 25. So California has just created the Ebony Alert to find missing Black children, but it goes up to, I'm looking. Yeah, from ages 12 to 25. So obviously goes outside the minor window for Amber Alert, stopping at 18 years old. But Ebony Alert.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
So if there's since there is issues with sex workers and people snatching up people and putting them into basically sex work slavery,
sure,
but that's an issue all around the board. Make an alert for that, to where it doesn't say we don't need a 24, 48 hour missing, the same rules that apply for a missing person. Say we can have an instant alert available for people who may have potentially been, snatched away in sex trade or something like that. But make that alert open for everyone. And the reason why is we already know that Black women are not looked at as valuable as white women, or for that matter, I can't speak to the other races, but you don't want to have an ebony alert like that to where it just determine itself, along with the way our society is already conditioned. It becomes a numbing, the same way. Did anybody actually read that alert? They just clicked and turned it off.
Right. Yeah. Literally just hit okay.
Yeah. That's what an ebony alert will be for a lot of mainstream society.
And it says, let's see, the law, which will go into effect January 1st, will allow the California Highway Patrol to activate the alert upon request from local law enforcement when a Black youth goes missing in the area. The Ebony Alert will utilize electronic highway signs and encourage use of radio, TV, social media, and other systems to spread information about the missing person. The Ebony Alert will be used for missing Black people aged 12 to 25.
Come on, you can't trust that. And that now, yeah, and I'm sure somebody just signed off for people in California to monitor and detect and use technology in our communities even more so to track the whereabouts of everybody they want to. It's all going to be designed in this Ebony Alert, but now they in there, they're going to be tapping phones and looking to see who doing what, and it's always alternate agendas in this stuff. You can't trust it.
Well, there's always alternate. You're right. There's definitely always alternate agenda. To me, what I see the issue in this, obviously, right, there's clearly, the need for highlight on the number of missing Black children and especially Black women, right? Like, there's a fucking county in California that issued a travel warning to Black women not to come to the county because so many Black women are coming up missing, they can't find them. So just, heads up, if you come here, Black women, like, hey, you might want to be with a friend or something, or don't go outside late at night because you come up missing and we can't find you. Like, so clearly there's no secret that, Black children and Black women are definitely stolen at higher rates and also not looked for in the same way that any other, non-Black missing person is looked for. And living in the climate of the country that we live in, what percentage of people are going to see Ebony Alert and be like, fuck that? Like, literally, like, so if it's an Amber Alert, everybody at least reads it until you see, oh, okay, a Hispanic child or a white child or a Black child, or this is the car, or this is the
city. Or at
city.
least you'll look to see
if
it's in your area.
Can
it's in your city or your neighborhood.
Right. Like, you might be looking around at cars next to you while you drive in. Right. You see Ebony Alert come through, people are going to turn that fucking alert off just simply on GP alone because it's only.
I don't know any Black people. Why am I looking like,
Right.
Can I be heard?
Right.
Yes.
Hello, Justin. Mic check.
Yes.
I want to speak on this. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, I want to speak on the Amber Alert thing because before I used to didn't read them. I would just press OK, and then just kind of like overlook it. But seeing that I have children, my own myself, and I don't want. I can only imagine, the type of ripple effects that they would have if that would happen to me. Actually, there was a woman that came to me looking for a child. And when you go into the history of, human trafficking, especially with children, it doesn't really hit you until it hits home. So, a loved one or somebody to that effect. So when I read those Amber Alerts, I'd be like, I say a little prayer or something, or I ask that the Most High protect those children because you never know what those children could be going through.
Are you frozen or you done?
I think you might have froze up. There's no sound at all.
Those type of. Sorry, can you guys hear me still?
You went
Can you guys hear me still?
I
Kind
can
of
hear
broke
you
out.
now. The last thing
Hello,
I heard
hello.
you said
You guys there?
hello. You might need to take your camera off again sometime to help you. But the last
screen
thing I heard
froze up. The screen kind of froze up. You guys there? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it might be you. You might need to come out and come back in.
No, I think it's the Wi-Fi switching in and out. But I'll just say this last thing. In regards to the children, it doesn't hit you until it hits home with somebody that you know and love. So when I see those type of children, I just pray over those children because you never know what they could be going through. And oh yeah, this is what I would say that children that go through those type of experiences, it can have an everlasting psychological damage on the child as far as their outlook on certain things in regards to those type of abductions. So when I see that, I actually feel for those children as far as them returning to their loved ones safely from somebody that's trying to take them and do whatever. Mm-hmm. So I actually read through them though. I actually like look at it and then I'll just press OK, and then I'll say a little prayer or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I usually I just check to see if it's in my area. But man, I really like what you said, and I'm going to adopt that. I'm gonna make sure I'll say a short prayer anytime I see those, and number one for them, but also I want to keep myself human in the process. You don't want it to be just a blank white noise that you can blow over and not have to think about. You should pause, think about it, say a prayer, send some thoughts and some type of energy, and then and that's also for a split second. That's opportunity of appreciation, just for the health and safety, because and that goes for when you see people getting wrecks. There's times I'll be like, man, dang, y'all don't know how to drive. Like somebody really going through a wreck, and I'm over here like I need to get home.
Right.
Like you don't want to allow yourself to not be human. So it's certain things like you said, Huguenon, and I'm gonna start doing that because I don't want to ever allow myself to be dehumanized. So that's good.
Thoughts on the Ebony Alert, Ivory?
I'm going to have to do some more thinking about it. I feel a little torn. I will say because
thinking. Why don't you just rip it off the top like I do? Just throw opinion out there.
I do that.
You don't need no more facts. Just give your opinion.
I do that for a lot of things. For this one, I think I need a little more information and a little more thought. But I'm going to say why I'm torn is because there are some things set up for us that turn out not to really be for us or be good for us. And then there are other things that people do put their heads together and decide that we do need something special. We have HBCUs because people decided what was happening wasn't working, right? We needed something special. So we can't take every time something's designed special for us and assume that it's a negative thing because it could be a good thing. So I don't know what it is right now, so that's why I say I'm going to suspend judgment in this moment until I find out more information.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's
And
fair.
I will say, any attention on a missing person is fucking good, right? No matter what color the alert is, no matter how loud it is, no matter how many times it hits our phone, attention about somebody missing is definitely imperative. No doubt, no doubt, no doubt. When I saw it yesterday and read about it, my first thought was, is this for real? Are they really calling this an ebony alert? And then I read it and I was like, wow, this really is really real.
You know what you got to do? Because then, say the California gonna pass this thing and say we're gonna introduce this ebony alert. So in the same way that they do on federal level, they do it on the state level. All right, we're gonna pass this new bill or new whatever, this and this and that, and we call it the ebony alert. And the stamp of it, the headline is that it's going to immediately alert if there's any missing black men or women at the ages, blah 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 blah. Now in the rest of the bill, you have all this other stuff that they don't talk about. They just use the ebony alert as the headline, but also in that same bill, we also given permission in the inner cities to be able to, now they can access your TVs and watch you and listen to what you say in the name of the security of the state. So you give away all these other freedoms under the banner that we're going to help these missing people. That's just a dangerous part. You got to read all of that stuff, because they'll use that to load everything else that they want to really get in there.
And that's a good call. I almost want to look that shit up when we're done tonight to see what other fat was added to that to be able to just kind of skim underneath this great gesture of humanity, right?
Slip through the cracks.
Yeah. All right, you got one, Q?
Oh, shoot. I'm over here talking to him. I really got any questions. Let me pull up. I got to pull up my... you said you got another one?
I got a video I can throw up.
Oh. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so it's a little 38-second clip, y'all. So y'all just listen to it, and then, of course, we'll talk about it.
My girlfriend makes $70,000 at her current job. She went to a job interview today. She calls me and tells me she got the job, and she's going to be making $100,000 a year. The only problem is her ex from 5 years ago is the boss of the company. I tell her it's going to make me uncomfortable knowing that she's going to be around him all day, every day. I tell her if she takes the job, I'm leaving because I know I'm not going to be able to handle it. If she loves me and wants to stay with me, she's not going to take the job and she's going to go somewhere else. My question is, am I doing too much? Does that make me insecure? If you were her, what would you do? I have a question.
What? That's a pretty good one. That's a pretty good
one. It's your woman.
Because
it's your woman. What y'all doing?
So so she currently making $70K, and I like it because they bumped it up just about going
100.
If it were if it was $70K to $700K, all right, look, it's no brainer. But you're gonna go up extra $30,000, so they pretty much bumping you up about another $6. It's like $6 an hour, extra $6 an hour. So if you currently at $70K, you making what's that? 25. You making what? That's like is that $35 or $40 an hour, something like that?
70K.
That's like 35. That's 30. I think that's about $35 an hour.
Okay.
So bumping you up to 100K, you make that's significantly more money. Now this X from 5. Now we got some more questions. Is he the one? Do he just happen to work? You said he runs the job.
He's our
boss.
Manager that did the interviews.
He's our boss.
So she got hired by him, and she's gonna be working under him. Nah, that don't add up to me.
You don't like that?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say.
So surprised by that. I totally knew that you would be like, no, it's good, babe. Go make some money.
No, it's
Well,
other circumstances.
to Q's point, there's a flip side of that because there could be some type of, vendetta behind that as far as him working under her because you don't know what the situation is as far as them breaking up. So with him being, her being under him, he could make her work life a living hell or miserable. So you don't want to put her under that. I mean, I know the money is good as far as the raising. That's great. Congratulations on that. But you got to think about the aftermath of that as far as like, okay, now how is this going to play out? These two have a history. They know each other. We don't, you probably know the relationship ended on bad terms. He may have an ulterior motive behind that as far as like, okay, I'm going to make you work a little bit extra. As far as the other employment, basically, in layman's terms, he may not treat her as fairly as those who are under his tutelage or leadership. So, in hindsight and retrospect, I would have to say that's a no.
And then in general,
based on those terms,
when you're talking about having a boss or a superior, in most cases, the only reason that we even allow that is because our bosses or our superiors are typically people we don't have to do life with and interact with on a regular basis.
Right.
I know a lot of people who, even when I was in management, there's people who knew me and they didn't want the job just because they didn't want to be under me. Like, whatever, you can make this money, you not, that's up to you. But and some people don't necessarily have a problem with it, but there can be an awkwardness of it. But even for someone who you used to be in a relationship with and now they are your superior, and now that's like one of those hidden power dynamics. So not only do you respond to me, but you still responding to your ex.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's supposedly in a work environment, then it's still like it's a type of flex because they have a certain level of control over you still.
Mm-hmm.
And they can go south in the high second.
I just think,
and on top of that, the biggest thing is for a woman or for me, you never ever want, man or woman, you never want your ex on any degree to feel like, or you don't want your partner to feel like your ex has an upper hand on them.
Right.
Ever.
That part. And then if I don't buckle to his demands, I lose my fucking job. Or I get demoted. Mm-hmm. Or like, I think that's a terrible position to even put herself in. I would absolutely not open the doors for that in my relationship. I wouldn't open the doors for that even if I wasn't in a relationship, because this is already, like you said, this is a hidden power dynamic in there. Like, I'm not doing this. Like, I'm cool with my little 70, right? Sure, 100 is nice, but at what, right? Like, everything has its own currency.
At what cost?
At what price would it change, though? Because I'd be like, at a certain price, I'd be like, all right, look, you're gonna work here for 6 months. We're gonna get this money, and then we're gonna go a different route. But we're gonna go get. We're gonna hit this lick real quick.
That was already. How can we maneuver?
For our advantage.
Opportunity for our advantage?
So what I'm saying is,
step up and project to something else or a different.
100K from 70 ain't enough for me to start planning.
Yes,
like
it is. Who you? People out here making $30,000. You talking about somebody's whole low class salary right now?
Right. That's true. That's true. That's
people
true.
out here making $30,000, and you're talking about that. Ain't
you get up to about 120, 140 now. I'm like, all right, we gotta listen.
No, it's a big difference between 70 and 100.
Definitely is, but I think also depending on where you live, though, you could be comfortable with two incomes if one was 70. So looking at the $70,000 to $100,000 gap might not be like that big of a deal to a two income household, but is that $30,000 worth whatever it could potentially open the doors to in the relationship, even if it is temporary? What if this just goes absolutely fucking sour? What if this was the love that got away? What if this was the one that always was on the back of your mind that you just had to let go because you knew that that door was closed, and all of a sudden this damn door opens back up? Like, I feel like it's almost like Pandora's box. And that doesn't mean that we should run from the things that may be in Pandora's box, right? Because you do have to address certain things to be able to get through and around them. But I just don't feel like that's a situation as a woman I would want to put my man in, to have to deal with that shit every time I go to work. Every day I go to work.
Let me tell you this on top of that, Nikki and Ivory, the part that Ivory ain't thinking of, because there's other dynamics.
I'm thinking.
So no,
She wants
thanks
that
for you
$100,000. She said, "Give me some months. We're gonna flip this."
30 is gonna make me think. But in, like, if you really want an extra 30K, you could Uber or sell some t-shirts. Like you can hustle up that. Or I can
That's
do
a lot of extra time.
I do a couple stuff, a little bit,
but extra time. Another job.
But all things considered, though, that can be supplemented to some degree. Now, once you get up to 120, 140, you talking about almost doubling. That's
right.
Different type of stuff. Now, the other dynamic that I was talking about that Ivory, you probably ain't thinking of. Even if we're on the same page, we're gonna get this money, this and this and this and blah blah blah. What happens in our relationship when we have a bumpy time and then we ain't on good talking terms and this and this and that, and then I know you going to work with your ex-boyfriend
telling our damn business,
and certain times where it don't matter to you, when y'all ain't clicking together, then it kind of does matter to you sometime, and you do think about it like, oh shoot. Or like, even if the shoe was reversed, like it would feel awkward or uncomfortable for anyone not to be on the same page, knowing that I'm going to work with my ex who's my boss.
Well, okay, this is what I was gonna say. This is the only way I think it really works, is when you know the circumstances of somebody's breakup. And
do you ever really know the circumstances?
No. I mean, there's
you know what they told you.
Listen, there are certain circumstances of breakups where a person literally got tired of somebody, like disgusted, kind of tired of them, and they let them go. Now, if you are the person who got disgusted, tired, and let that person go, but you still can stunt like you're not disgusted, then I wouldn't feel no kind of way about you being around them. I know you can't stand them no more.
But even that, are you comfortable with the other? Because you know, if the person who I left and I'm done with them, yeah, if I'm back in the mix and presence, they still probably gonna be pushing up on me, especially if it's a man toward a woman.
They are like, getting access. They're having access that they wouldn't have had.
But what happens when you disgusted with somebody and they keep pushing up on you? You just get more disgusted. So that wouldn't even be,
Ivory, that goes back to what me and Nikki was saying. That might not be enough, or
attractive.
It may not be worth it. It just
look. I'm gonna take out Ivory's book. I'm gonna take the fucking job, and then I'm gonna get you fired for not having boundaries, and I'm gonna keep this money, and we're gonna get a new boss and this $30,000 raise. Because you keep fucking with me, I'm gonna get you fired. I am not the one to press buttons with when it comes to HR. Like, you finna lose your job today. You gonna lose your job. So I'm gonna keep the 30. I'm gonna take your job. I'm gonna get you to lose your job. And then, we'll go from there. But otherwise, I'm not opening that door for my man.
Changing stories up. We can turn that whole story around.
Hey, these are possible scenarios that can take place, because we do have to consider, if you are in a position of power and you are creating a hostile work environment, shit, it's no holds bars when it comes to going to HR. Like, no, I will record everything that you say, and you will lose your job messing with me. Leave me alone. Let me do my job. But I think that there are some exes where maybe you could pull some of that off. But I think there are also some exes where it just would not be a good fit for some couples to work through that.
It wouldn't work for all exes. No.
Right. Brian says no. He says, "Oh, feelings and working together do not mix," especially if somebody's like disgruntled. All money
Yeah,
ain't good
and
money.
there's hardly ever real mutual breakups where both parties are like,
Right,
yeah, no, one person really felt strong about, and the other person had to concede.
right, right. And then think about the person who may be hiring, right? They may have had this person in their in their mind this whole entire time, and finally gets to interview them. What if they go the other direction and are not pushing up on them in a sexual way? But what if they just make their 8-hour, 10-hour day an absolute living hell the entire time because they don't like you. You broke their heart. You upset them. You embarrassed them. You left them and they weren't ready to be left, right? Like they make your day-to-day fucking miserable. And I realize that some people's day-to-day is already miserable at work. I can't stay in an environment like that. So like, is it worth it? It's not worth it for me. But
Is the 30K raise worth it?
yeah.
That's what I say. I don't know about the 30K. It's well, how it depends. It really, to tell you the truth, let's
That's a whole lot of raise going on right there.
It just depend on where you at with your income to outgo ratio and all of that. So if there's 70 to 100, but say if both of y'all making 70 and you got all your bills paid, you able to put stuff and say, man, that's a good come up, but we'll wait for a different opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if your bills right here and your income right here, and this gonna give you some space, then like, oh well, look, we gonna make this work for our advantage. At the end of the day, because that extra 30 gonna make a huge difference. If the household is only making $80,000, now we gonna come up.
Right.
Do you got one last one, or do I need to pull up my stuff?
Let's see.
Oh.
Yeah, I thought this was kind of interesting. This one's a little short. I've got two.
Okay. Let's go.
We'll go with this one. It's a little different than a male and female's response. We do a lot of men and women things. So this is a little bit different. I kind of think I cut it off like the first couple seconds, but if you watch the whole thing, you'll get the gist of what is being said.
Mom packed my brother for medical school. And initially, I was just going to talk about all the foods that she made, but I decided to change the subject a bit because the amount of work and love she poured into kids is just insurmountable, and that goes the same with my dad. And it's funny because back then, I struggled so much with my parents because they never expressed their love for us verbally. And I would always ask my mom as a kid, "You love me, right?" Or "Why don't you ever say I love you?" And I remember my mom had no response to that, and she just kept showing me her love instead. I sooner or later realized that the pot of gold was in front of me the whole time. I just needed to realize it.
꼴 사랑하지. 그러니까 밤중에 일어나서 추울까봐 이불도 덮어주고 뭐 그렇게 음식도 엄마가 더 맛있는 거 먹는 것보다도 너희들한테 더 좋은 거 주고 그게 사랑을 얘기하는 거야. 꼭 뭐 I love you 한다고 해서 그게 사랑하는 거고 I love you 말 안 하고 뭐 그런다고 해서 사랑 안 하고 그거는 아니야. 사랑하니까는 너네들한테 그렇게 가서 그렇게 하는 거지.
So basically, mom made all these things for her brother who was in medical school, right? Like most parents do, right? You pack a care package for your kids when they're in school, so on and so forth. So when I saw this a couple days ago, it definitely made me just stop and think, right? So like, I know there's a lot of different cultures where the words "I love you" are not necessarily shared vocally. And so this was that case, right? So this girl grew up wondering if her parents loved her because they never said "I love you." But as an adult, trying to rectify and see love in other ways besides just the words, you see the care that mom puts into this food, into the packaging and the cleanliness and the taping of the cooler and all these things to send her son back to college with some home cooked foods. So there's so many different things actually for me happening in this video because food is a love language, preparation is a love language. Like all of these other things mean love, but to not hear the words, I love you. So it just made me wonder, because I grew up in a house where I love you was said. My children are raised in a house where I love you is said every day, multiple times per day. And we're affectionate too, right? So I say I love you and I show you that I love you. I don't know what it's like to come from a household where I have to question because it was never said to me, other than my parents took care of us. But it made me wonder, like, how does one rectify that as an adult, right? Can you unhurt maybe some of the hurt and confusion that you felt as a child, wondering when you weren't even able to grasp that actions mean love, but the absence of the words I love you, like, would it have been better to have the words I love you and then the actions not be the same? Like, I don't know, I don't even know how to piece together how the adult, kind of heals through that process, because there's a lot of adults that have to go through that as adult children. So I was like, that would be an interesting thing for us to talk about. Just the I love you, the act versus the actual words.
Yeah. First of all, the act there's nothing better than the act.
Right.
Now, say it. It's it takes very, very minimal effort. As much as I'm talking right now, just to say I love you is just something that you have to practice. So when people, would you rather me do this? I'd rather you do both. How about that?
Right.
Tell me and show me.
Right. And I don't think that a person is wrong for asking.
Right. And then I guess the only thing I can say is understand. I understand. This is what I would tell a person. I understand why it's hard for you if you were raised in an environment that didn't say it.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, it's not a hard thing to do. Just start saying it and practicing it and speaking if you really mean it. So it's like I can acknowledge why you don't, but I'm not gonna give you a huge excuse about it, because it ain't. It's something that you can change. So that's that. Now look, the other part of what you was talking about, as far as or what she was talking about, as far as how does a person, I guess, see or mature into being able to identify love from a parent after they become adults. Now, I really think that comes with the experience. I'm sure she probably ran into people who either said they loved her and acted like they loved her, but then the actions didn't follow up with that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can, so from that, you may have been feeling like you need someone to tell you or to verbalize that. And then when they verbalize it, then when the actions didn't show up, then now you have to start balancing out what is what. And then you see, and then you start looking at your parents and what they did differently. Like, oh, now I'm noticing their actions and everything that they did, the subtle things that they did on a day-to-day basis, the consistency and the loyalty that they had to me, as far as making sure that they, gave us everything that we need. Now you just start viewing what that is differently. And especially, and a part of you going through your own, when you got to start buying your own food, or maybe you have your own kids and you got to do things for them and never get a thank you for that. When you might day, but as children, like little babies, you ain't getting no thank you. You gonna do it just because you do it. So, I mean, the combination of all those experiences will allow you to look back and be like, oh, okay, now I've learned how to identify love in other ways, just in verbal. That's all.
I'm just laughing looking at that, because I grew up with one parent who said I love you all the time, and one parent who he didn't grow up saying that, so he didn't have that skill set. We just finally had to wear him down as adults. He did get worn down, so now he says it all the time, but we had to wear him down. But I think the crazy, not crazy, but it's like, if you don't want your kids to wonder, just tell them, because you need a lot of perspective as an adult to put all those pieces together. But as a kid,
you don't know.
You don't know. And even sometimes as an adult, like you can, like, I'm a words of affirmation person. That's like my love language.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of times my head, like some people, acts of service just instantly communicate love to them. They don't communicate love to me. Like, I don't know why you're doing what you're doing. Are you doing it out of a sense of responsibility for me? Are you doing it because you think it's the right thing to do? Like, to me, there's a lot of reasons why people can go through the motions of doing something, and it doesn't necessarily have to be because you love me.
Right.
So I know you
Right.
love me because you do and you tell. You say, I love you. Like, to me, that's, then you tell me why. Okay. If you say you love me, I'm going to normally ask why. Why? Why do you love me? I want the details. I want all of it. So, yeah, like, you want to give the kids the confidence and do it and say. Just do both of it. Because you don't want them to have to get old and then start trying to process how you love them.
Well, and then Ivory, you think about, like, okay, so what age did the aha moment come for this woman, right? So she potentially lived all of her adolescent years, all of her teenage years. And then when you really are not sure if your parent loves you because they never say it, but the TV says it and the movies say it and my friends' parents say it and my like everybody else says it but my parents, so maybe they don't love me. Can you imagine if the household doesn't have a certain type of control, the type of spiral that kid goes through during that teenage formation years of looking for some fucking love, because whatever that's supposed to be at home, like, yeah, I have the identity for feeling like there's love there, but the words never come out. And if it's so easy to say the words, why would my parents not say it other than they're doing this out of obligation? And what kid wants to feel like they're only being taken care of out of obligation?
Yep.
Well, maybe the parents experience that same type of effect, so they, inherited that trait as far as not, their parents not telling them that they love them. So, in retrospect, they, inherit that same trait and pass to their children, which is not okay because, the action or showing somebody that you love them and saying it is just as important. It just confirms it as far as the display of, the act of service is showing your child that you love them, but also saying it, it presents a sense of closure when a parent tells a child that they love them. And, that's just, just a normal thing, but some houses do it, some houses don't, but, it also could be a generational type practice that the mother inherited from her parents, and then she just passed it out to her children, and her children couldn't understand, why she didn't do that.
Yep.
What was I gonna say? A friend of mine, a woman, she we've been friends a long time, and she's definitely close with her mom today, because it's really just the two of them left. And I mean, and they have a very good relationship for what it's worth, but that was something that she struggled with a lot, all her years growing up. And we met when we were probably young 20s. Our kids are now, like, my daughter's gonna be 27. Her daughter, I think, just turned like 25. So our kids are a little bit older, and it's her only child. But I remember from very young on her always saying, my mom never told me that she loved me, and she never gave me hugs. So she, like, went above and beyond to make sure when she had her daughter, she fucking wore "I love you" out. She wore the affection out, because she definitely did not get that growing up. And we've talked about this many times over the years, and she's like, I don't know why. Like, I literally don't know why my mom wouldn't. And she's asked her mom before. Like, she's been very fearful to approach this subject with her mom over the years, but she finally, she'd asked her, and it just was what it was. There was no real answer. She just didn't. And it just made me wonder, like, I get it. It's one thing maybe in a partner situation or in a dating situation, you might be a little bit scared to say I love you, a little bit guarded to say I love you, a little bit guarded to even feel love, right? But with your child, and I'm going to go on a limb here and say mother to child, because we carry these children inside of us. Not that a father is any less important or critical to a child's proper development, but for a woman to have that baby in there for 9 months and go through all the things that a woman goes through to push that baby out or have that baby get cut out, whatever the case may be, to just not feel compelled to say I love you is such an interesting thing to me, because I just usually I'm really good about getting into other people's heads and spaces and you know, identifying or just understanding why, but I don't get that one. I just,
well, I think if you didn't grow up hearing it, not only is it something that you're not gonna naturally duplicate, but in a lot of instances you may not understand the value of saying it and hearing it. Like, you can question, you can wonder, how come they don't tell me they love me? But at the same time, like, if you don't hear it and and it doesn't give you that emotional validation every day before you go to school and as you move, operate, my tribe loves me, then you just, how will you really understand the value of it?
I just
Yeah,
don't
you're
know.
right. My mom said it all the time, and I feel like I probably overkill with my kids. Like, it's like,
Oh,
how much
listen.
do you love mommy?
No such
How
thing as
far
love
do
or
you
kill.
love me, mommy? Why did my daughter asked me, my 6-year-old asked me, mommy, when did you first know how much you loved me? And I laid on the floor and I said, okay. I was like, I pretended like I was pulling her 6-year-old self. I said, they pulled you out of mommy's tummy and then they laid you on mommy's chest. And I said, oh, look at her. I love her. She was like, oh, okay, mommy.
From the beginning, okay, we're safe.
We did a whole C-section reenactment.
Oh,
That's so corny. But yeah, no, we just talk about love all day. But yeah,
we in overdrive. My son and my daughter,
Here's a hit you with that question, boy.
it probably, like, I tell each of them on average at least 15 times a day. Like, that's the conversation when I see you. Just, he come down, my son come down, get some corn dogs. I love you, Dad.
Right.
He's
like, that's
he's so
right.
sweet. Yeah,
all the time. It's like,
Right.
and there's never time to be like, boy, you just told me that 5 minutes ago. I'm like, I love you too, son. Like,
Right.
as many times as you can say it, as many times I can say it. It ain't gonna get old.
And I think that that's like the most beautiful thing ever, because there's just something to me about men who are affectionate with their sons, and men who are not just, you know, high five, dap you up, but like give you a fucking hug, embrace your son, kiss your son on the cheek. Like, there's so many men who are just funny about that. It's one of the things I really actually loved about my kid's dad when we first got together, and then of course had our, you know, our kids. I was like, he don't run from affection from these children at all. Like, never, you know? And it was almost like went out of his way to make sure every day, you know, told them and showed them, you know, with hugs and affection and, you know, the words, I love you. I've never been with somebody who has a hard time saying I love you either. So it's just, I realize that for a lot of people, that is a hard emotion to express. It is something that a lot of people don't know how to put their finger on. Like, I get that. But I just feel like at some point, even if you didn't grow up hearing it, you know what I love you feels like. Like, the words, it's an active choice to or to not say it. So for a parent to actively choose to not tell my child I love you, especially if the poor kid has said, do you love me?
No, that's bad.
Why do you think that some people don't say I love you? Are they afraid of the phrase?
Yeah, I think saying I love you is still, even with your child, it's still a vulnerability. It's still you being vulnerable.
It's true.
And if the people who laid your foundation never showed you vulnerability, then that's going to be a struggle for you to even show your child vulnerability when your parents couldn't show you any vulnerability. So, I mean, I get it.
Sure.
But I think you should work through it. But I get it.
Yeah, I think that's one that's the primary example of my old saying is you have to do the uncomfortable until it becomes comfortable.
Right.
And if you just if you keep saying
I like that saying. That's a good saying right there.
Oh yeah, that's you know, my sales life. That's my motto.
No, I was thinking about, because I try to read a lot of parenting books and stuff, and just one point about like some things with your children are not like you should let them win. Like even if you had an opinion, they had an opinion, and letting them have their way has an effect on nothing. It doesn't hurt the house. It doesn't whatever. They had a way, it was different than your way. It affects nothing. Like let them see themselves win an argument sometimes or get their way sometimes, even with an adult, even with you. But like reading that intellectually, I could see that's not a bad idea. Now, do you think anybody up in my house was letting a kid have their way after they had their say? It didn't matter what you said. No, it's not. You're never going to win in this, And so even for me, that's a lot of vulnerability I feel when I let my kids win. Sometimes. Like I feel vulnerable. Like, am I disservicing them? Are they going to get entitled? Are they going to be spoiled brats? I wasn't a spoiled brat. Maybe I should just keep doing it how my parents did. So you have all of these thoughts that you're trying to untrain. So I can even see that with the I love you, right? Like you thinking all of, you have all of these things about being vulnerable and when no one showed it to you. So I can see how you just keep recreating those patterns if you don't really make yourself break them.
All right. Hey, we're at 136. Anybody got any final words?
No, but I love y'all, so I'm so glad that y'all are here.
I knew you was gonna come and say that. I knew you was gonna come with it.
I got no problem with I love you. I swear to God I don't. And sometimes I'll say it just by default. And I'm like, oh shit. Like I hope they don't mean like I love them like that. Like fuck, I just love you. Like you're just an important person to me. And I think that sometimes like I love you is just a response to I fucking love you. Like you're good people. Like you're good to my spirit, my soul. Like I appreciate you. I value you. Like, but it's interesting when you tell a friend that and they're like,
yeah.
Okay. Women, I think it's, like, I mean, I don't know about all women, but me and mine are like, love you too. Like, we love you all the time, right? But like, there have been a few, male friends that I've had where situations have taken place and, things were finished with, I love you. And it was, sometimes people are taken aback by that. So I do realize the phrase is a very powerful fucking phrase, obviously. And can certainly be one that people are uncomfortable with, but I'm so glad that everybody here says I love you to their children. That makes my heart feel so
I definitely say it.
So bad for this woman. I was like, oh, she needs therapy. Oh my God, her mom didn't tell her she loved her. But I love it. I love it. I love it. No, it's a great conversation. I appreciate you guys for being here tonight too. Did you guys have anything you want to share? Anything you want to close out with?
Yeah, I'll close out with this.
Thank you.
My daughter, she's 3. And her vocabulary is extensive. So she was talking to me and she said, she's like, Daddy, you're breathtaking. And I was like, where did you get that from? Where did you learn that word from? I was like, what? Like this girl will come up. She's 3. I'm like, where did you learn that from? Like this, because I used to read to her when she was in her mother's womb because I think at the second trimester the baby is able to hear. So I've researched and found out what the benefits of those. Reading to the baby while they're in the womb. They are ahead of the curve when it comes to their reading comprehension and learning language and all of that. So she just has an extensive vocabulary, but she threw me for a loop when she said breathtaking because I'm like, where did you learn that from?
Right.
Like for her to say that word and to use it in a sentence like that, it's like it amazed me. Like it's like wow. But I just wanted to say that in regards to because we were talking about saying I love you to our children. So I have about 6 of them. And they all have their unique qualities, but the thing that amazes me the most is the little ones because they're able to absorb this type of information and they're very smart and they learn on the fly very quickly. So you have to be careful what you say around them and what you do around them because they pick up on it real fast, especially certain words like that. So I just want to end on that note as far as sharing something, sharing y'all the word that my daughter said to me that just caught me by surprise, boy.
Tell your wife she gonna have to step it up because your daughter got her beat. Like you got keep. I mean, you can't find me no more, baby. I'm breathtaking.
Yeah. Yeah. Daughter, hit me with it.
All right, so tell somebody that you love them today. That's it. That's all we got. So unless y'all got some topic suggestions, and if you do, please share them. The last couple of videos that I shared, actually, thank you to Smack for sharing those, David for sharing the one at the beginning. So a lot of these things are just stuff that people have sent to us. So we appreciate you guys for giving us videos and memes and quotes and tagging us on things. So we have, obviously good stuff to talk about. We do try to kind of stay away from some of the hot topic political, news issues or whatever. So totally appreciate you guys for thinking about us when something controversial or debatable comes up. We love you too, Jules. Thank you for being here tonight in the comment section too. Those of y'all who watched us and shared us, there was a lot of shares today. If you have not joined us over on the YouTube channel, please join the YouTube channel, subscribe, hit the notifications button. Of course, you'll get all the notifications when we go live. And let's try to get to 100 subscribers. I think we're just a couple shy of 100. So help us get to our 100 plus subscribers this week and share this page. And we'll see you next Tuesday. Have a good night.